Hi, my name is Julie Langenkamp-Muenkel. I'm editor-in-chief of informationmanagement.com, and I'm here at TDWI's World Conference in Las Vegas, Nevada. And I'm here joined by Shawn Rogers, who is Vice President of Research for Business Intelligence at Enterprise Management Associates. Thank you for joining me.
You're welcome. It's nice to see you.
You too. Thank you very much. Shawn, you taught a course this morning on social analytics in the enterprise. I think a lot of people, when they hear about social analytics, instantly think of monitoring Twitter streams, but it's obviously so much more than that. Can you talk a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, I can. You know, it's a great class. It's fun. I tease my class that they're there because it's more interesting than data modeling. So they like social, and it's interesting. I've been teaching a class now for almost 2.5 years for TDWI, and it's evolved. I used to take a straw poll in the class and ask how many people are on Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook, and the numbers kind of varied, and now it's almost unison, 100% in the class. So it's getting a little bit more sophisticated, but at the core of it is it's a new data source that's in our language of BI. It's somewhat structured but unstructured. It's very high velocity. It can be analyzed into sentiment information, behavioral information. Actually, there's 5 types of data that we monitor kind of in the class and talk about that you can use in the enterprise, and that ranges from the social graph analysis, behavioral sentiment. We talk about rich media data as well, sort of the videos and the audio. All of these things are making their way into how we analyze our businesses. And I think in the beginning it was kind of seen as soft data, not very mission critical information. And I make a joke in the class that, Sunday I tweeted that I was sitting on my sofa watching the NFL, the Green Bay Packers play football while eating Cheetos and drinking a Budweiser. Who cares, right? Well, the NFL, Budweiser, and Cheetos care, and brands care, and beyond the brands, you can kind of take this information in and serve your customers better and smarter and faster. We talk about use cases around call center analysis, where wouldn't it be nice when your call center app came up and you saw that it was Julie on the phone, but you could also see her last 3 tweets that mentioned your brand, and see if she's angry or happy or has a problem. Wouldn't it be nice if you could answer the phone and say, hi Shawn, I understand you're stranded by our airline in Chicago. How can I help you? And that would make me feel better that they actually had a clue of what I was doing. So it's gone from being a soft type thing to a mission critical thing, and it also dovetails into this whole topic of big data that's so interesting. So the class is, I think, getting more full every time I teach. It was almost standing room only this morning, so the classroom was absolutely packed, and I had a hard time getting through my slides because there were so many good questions and interactions, and so I'll have to reevaluate the deck a little bit and maybe thin it down because people, I think, are getting more animated and passionate about it.
Good. And where do you see most organizations are in terms of maturity with their deployments and their understanding of why this is mission critical?
That's a really good question. Today, for the first time, I actually presented my maturity model for BI, social data analytics, and we have kind of 5 steps, and the easiest one is actually just contributing to a community where a brand or a company is actually outbound, sort of being social, all the way on up to the 5th level of the curve of being highly integrated, not only in your analytics, but in the way your business runs and implementing and integrating it into business and operational workflows. I don't find a lot of companies that are at stage 5 maturity, although there are some early adopters that are there. Most companies are still stuck in probably the 2nd level, which is about listening to communities and listening to social, and then trying to figure out the next step for them will be is trying to figure out how to take some action on it. So you mentioned social media monitoring tools up front. You're right, that's not what it's all about, but it is one of those initial steps for listening and putting kind of your ear to the social wall to know what people are talking about.
And what advice would you give for companies wishing to move along that maturity model? How do they get from the initial step to beyond that?
It's very close to the same stuff you and I have talked about in this industry for years, which is finding the right sponsor for the project, making sure that you have appropriate budget. It's the same as all other analytic kind of initiatives that we go into. This one just happens to be dealing with a data source that's kind of new and exciting, but the rest of it's the same as always. You got to get around the politics, and you got to get around the people, and you got to get somebody to sponsor it from an executive level to help get it pushed through, and of course someone has to pay for it. It's not free. So yeah, it's the same stuff you and I have been writing and talking about for a decade. So
Sure. So not necessarily related to social analytics, but even beyond that, what is the most exciting innovation in our industry at the moment, in your opinion, for the next year? What excites you?
You know, I don't think I have a single answer. I will say that, and you might agree, I think a few years ago, the industry got kind of quiet and it got a little boring. And then, you know, we saw a lot of consolidation of certain technologies. And having been doing this since the mid-90s, I really kind of felt a little like it was kind of quiet. Now you have big data certainly spurring things on. You have things like social analytics, Hadoop, and all of those types of technologies. There's also the cloud continues to really get people's attention because it has such a dramatic impact on capital costs and speed of implementations. And then you can also get into these new delivery platforms. You and I have seen all these great vendors doing all this exciting stuff on tablets and iOSs and Android devices. And BI has jumped well beyond the four walls of an office, and now it's gone mobile and it's everywhere. So I think it's hard to pinpoint one, but the good news is we get to cover all of them.
Exactly,
So
and
very good.
it's exciting times
Yes,
for us.
It is, for sure.
Thank you very much for your time here today.
You're welcome.